I don't know what it is. Like whenever you're first getting started, you just listen for things like, what do I want more of? And that's probably just because our tendency as human nature is we always want more of everything. What do I want more of? So then you're focusing on boosting frequencies. But what we should really be focusing on is what do we need less of? Like we should be focused on cutting frequencies. And why should that be our focus?
Yeah, well, it's not nearly as fun, right? I mean, to be fair, we can hear the bad sounds and in the boosted adjustments, we can hear those a lot easier than when we're carving stuff away. It's like getting rid of a bad habit. Everybody hates trying to change a bad habit, right? It's just too easy to turn it up the other direction. So, but with EQ, yeah, it's super important to cut. The reason for that is a few different reasons. One is that whenever you're boosting or cutting frequencies, you're affecting other frequencies on either side of that selection, right? So when you turn them up, you're turning up other frequencies with it. And same with turning them down. It's just when you turn them up, you start to impact the different distortion and the effect you have across those frequency bands. And when you boost it, that distortion becomes way more apparent than when you're cutting them. So that's why cutting them is so important. It reduces the amount of that audible influence on the cut frequencies around it and the interaction of those. So that's a really helpful thing. The other thing that it does is that it helps clarify the sound when you cut. When you boost frequencies, you're actually injecting more sound that may not really exist that well in the first place. Like with bass, when I would always crank that bass knob or the filter that would turn that up, it was probably because my sound system just couldn't produce those frequencies in the first place. And I wasn't doing any favors by boosting it. I was just making it tubby and muddy and that, if I didn't have a subwoofer, that woofer was just barely able to sustain any of those frequencies. So it really can cause that kind of distortion and muddiness in the mix if you're boosting too much.
Yeah, no doubt. I always call the EQ golden rule is to cut before you boost. Always listen to the sound and be like, what can I get rid of to fix the problem? And a good example of this is like whenever you're listening to a vocal and you're like, oh, it's not clear. I need more clarity. And you might want to go start boosting like in that 1 kilohertz to 5 kilohertz range to try to bring clarity to it. But what you really need to do is probably put a low cut filter on it or cut out in that 200 to 300 hertz range that's making it muddy and hard to distinguish what's going on. Which brings me to my next question. What is the most important EQ filter?
Well, yeah, you hit on it right away. And funny enough about boosting the bass, that's often the thing that needs to get cut. Even, believe it or not, on a bass guitar or a kick drum.
What?
Yeah, right? Impossible. Blasphemy. You're supposed to get all that bass, right? It's got to be thumping. Well, funny enough, all those low frequencies, anything below really, I mean, for most audio sources below about 60 to 80 hertz even, and on the bass guitar and the kick drum, even below 40 hertz, can be cut out of the frequency spectrum because unless you have a really high-end sound system, your speakers are probably going to be inefficient at producing those frequencies accurately in the first place. So you're not really getting the benefit that you think you are by keeping those frequencies in the mix. And they also cause a lot of rumble and a lot of resonance with other things going on in the building. And this can become a complicated discussion if you want to analyze every part of it, but there's different things like HVAC ductwork. There's different things like that can create standing waves based on the dimension of your room and all these different things. Those low frequencies can really cause those acoustic problems to stand out that much more. So it's best just to cut them out if at all possible. So I always advise, especially with vocals, starting, at like 80 hertz and even a little bit higher, cutting some of those out. But almost every instrument can benefit from using a high pass filter or a low cut filter, depending on how you like to think about it. A high pass filter labeled HPF on a lot of consoles simply just allows high frequencies to pass through at a certain point and cuts the lows on the other side of that point. So if you set your high pass filter or low cut filter at 80 hertz, that means everything below 80 hertz is being dropped off and everything above it is allowed to pass through. So that's one of the most important tools on your console, and it's not even really called an EQ. It's just a frequency filter is all it is.
Yeah, and it's really surprising how big of a difference it makes in your mix. I remember when I discovered how important it was to use that on every instrument, get it dialed in right, because it really relieves stress on your subwoofers and your speakers and cleans up your sound, and you're just like, wow. And really, it comes down to it, like if all you had was gain and a low cut filter, you could create some pretty great sound with just those two things. And I actually have a low cut filter cheat sheet if you're over there thinking, well, I want to do this, but I don't know where to set the low cut filter for each instrument. So I'll link to that in the show notes, and you can find it at collaborateworship.com.
Mixing sound seems complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Get access to our stress-free training to help you create great sound at church by visiting churchsoundmadesimple.com.